Alright guys, what's going on? In this video, we're going to be talking about best practices for taking photos. So we're going to be discussing some of the do's and some of the don'ts. And please, if there's any time you have a question, something is unclear, please feel free to reach out to me, post your question in the group, whatever you need to do so that you can have clarity. Again, you have personal access to me throughout this course, so feel free to send me a personal message and I will get everything cleared up for you. All right, so here are some of the do's. Let's start with some of the do's. When you are taking your photos, you always want to take clear, crisp photos. You don't want your photos to be blurry and things like that. Make sure they are clear. The other thing is when you're photographing a property, you want to ensure that you are capturing the entire property, okay? And because most companies use like apps, things like that, which we're going to go into a few of them that some of the companies use, but because you're using an app, or even if you're not using an app, you always want to make sure that your cell phone has the correct time and date. Nowadays with smartphones, we don't have that issue. Usually it automatically updates if we have it set up that way. But you just want to make sure that your cell phone has the correct time and date on there, because a lot of the apps will use your location and your time and the date for your photos. All their photos will be time stamped, time and date stamped. Another thing that you want to ensure that you do, usually most of them require that you take your photos in landscape mode, not portrait. Okay, so you always want to try to take your photos in landscape mode so that it captures a lot more of the area. All right, and the other thing for that, most of you probably already know, but you want to make sure that that you have your automatic rotation enabled, so that when you most of us use our phone like this, but if you have that enabled, when you turn your phone to landscape, it'll automatically flip to landscape mode. All right. And the last thing for your do's, always make sure that you have all of your photo requirements before leaving the property, because one of the biggest things, and a lot of inspectors get upset about, is because they did not complete all of their requirements, and they were either told they needed to go back within 24 hours to do a follow-up and to correct those issues. And let me tell you, with follow-up, if you have a lot of follow-ups, anytime you have a follow-up, usually it's without pay. Okay, so you want to make sure that that you have all of your ducks in a row, all of your photo requirements, everything that you need before you leave the property. Make sure your photos are good, because they will send you back to redo the job at your expense. Again, you remember, you are an independent contractor, so you have to make sure that the work that you upload, including your photos, are in great condition to where they won't have to send it back to you in order to be redone. Now, some of the don'ts we're going to be covering is you never use photos from previous inspections. Okay, never use photos from previous inspections, because that's the fastest way for you to get barred from the company. You never want to use photos from like Google, realtor sites, or anything like that. All of your photos need to be taken on the day of your inspection. Okay, so never take photos of people. We never do that. No kids, no people. We try to avoid taking photos, avoid as much as possible to avoid taking photos of people. No, The other thing is you never take photos through your windows. I'm gonna be showing you some examples, but right now I'm just giving you a list. But you never take photos through your car windows, okay? And never submit blurry photos, and never submit photos with any part of your car in it. I mean, a lot of these things are just common sense, okay? So we're gonna jump into the do's right now. So a proper front photo. The home should take up at least 90% of the photo frame. As you can see by the arrows, this is not a perfect photo, but you see the entire home is captured. There's still space between the sides of the home, and then if you look at the rooftop, there's space in between there. This probably could have been. I doubt if it could have been any closer or blown up any closer, because as you can see, the left side of looking at the front of the house, the left side of the house, the photo edge is like right at the gutter. All right, but basically this house, the photo of the home is taking up 90% of the frame in this photo. So that is a proper front photo. Now, the crisp, clear photos, as you can see, there's an example to the left where there's a clean, clear photo. The example to the right, can you tell what's even in that photo? Because I can't. Okay, so you have to make sure that your pictures don't come out like that. Or sometimes they don't have to be that blurry, but they're still blurred and they're not as crisp as the picture to the left. So you want to make sure that your pictures are clear and can be visible in your photos. Here's another one where a lot of people make the mistake of not capturing the full home. Okay, to the right, as you can see, the full home is not captured there. Okay, so you've got part of the roof missing, you got part of the sides missing. So if someone was to look at that photo, they wouldn't be able to tell, the dimensions of the house, or so to speak. If you look to the left, that is the correct way to photograph a house, because now you have the entire home captured inside the frame, and you have you can see the yard, you can see the sky, you can see the rooftop, and you can see the sides of the house. Okay, so that is the correct way for you to capture the entire home. Sometimes we run into homes with obstructions, okay, but the best way, as you can see, this home has obstructions. If you look on the picture to the right, this home has obstructions because the field inspector took the photo from the side. Okay, now if you look to the left, the photo to the left, this photo is dead on to the property. That is the correct way to photograph a property, not to the side, because now you're dealing with obstructions. And I'm gonna give you another example of obstruction, because we have trees, anything can obstruct the property. Here we go, homes with obstructive views. As you can see, this home has a big tree in front of it. If at all possible, you want to try to get the best photo possible. So even if you have to step to the left of the property or step to the right of the property and angle your photograph to capture the home itself, and not try to get the trees in it, that is going to be a better photo to use than the one that you see on the screen. Sometimes these things can't be avoided, so this may actually be the best photo that inspector was able to get on that particular house. But you never want to shortchange yourself. If you can get a better photo, grab a better photo, rather that be moving to the left or to the right of the house, to try to angle your camera to capture the front of the house. You want to do it. All right. Blurry photos. Okay. The number one thing that will get a job sent back are blurry photos. As you can see, the picture to the left has an address, but can you read the address? I can't. So whoever receives this photo won't be able to read this address either. So we have to make sure that the address is clear because they need to know if we were at the correct property. The picture to the right, it looks like they were trying to show some occupancy indicators. However, the picture is blurry. We can't tell what's sitting on the porch. We know it's something. We know it's a possible air conditioning unit in the window, but we don't know what exactly it is. We can't assume. So if your picture is clear and crisp, you'll be able to see exactly what's on that front porch, exactly what's in that window, so that when you submit your work, they can tell exactly what that is, because you're going to be putting notes in your your inspection form anyway, but they need documentation, and part of that documentation are your photos. All right, some of the things that you should not do. Again, if you look at the picture to the left, it does not capture the entire property. Part of the property is cut off. And if you look to the right, this photo to the right, as you can see in the lower right hand edge, part of the vehicle is in that photo. These photos cannot be used. Okay, these photos cannot be used. Another thing I want you to be careful of is reflections and shadows. As you can see, this is me, but as you can see, and these are my personal photos, but as you can see, there you can see the reflection. You can see my reflection in this screen, in the storm door glass. All right, so you want to be aware of when you're walking up to a door and you're trying to get occupancy indicators. As you can see right now, there's a little reef on the door, and that's probably what I was trying to get a picture of. And as you can see, this picture is blurry as well, so this is not a great photo. So avoid these kind of photos at all costs. Next, when you're in your car and you're taking your vehicles, roll your windows down, okay? And be careful of capturing your mirrors, because a lot of times we'll sit up there and we'll hold our phone out the window, and we're not realizing we're capturing part of our rear view, side view mirror. So you want to make sure it's always, good to maybe try to position yourself directly in front of the house so you can point your camera out the window and not at an angle where is how if you can see in this left picture how the photo is kind of angled, so it's capturing the mirror. It's capturing the house, but it's also capturing the mirror. So that's something that you have to think about. The picture to the right, this photo was taken through the windshield, and as you can see, most times we don't catch these kind of things, but as you can see, a lot of times we'll catch the reflection of what's on the dash, we'll catch the dash itself and things like that. And on both of pictures, actually, you can see reflections in both photos. If you notice, I didn't mark it, but if you notice on the left photo, if you notice right above the mirror, there's like a little white shimmery kind of thing image there. Well, that's actually a reflection, and they catch on to that stuff. So you never want to take your photos through your vehicle windows, through your car windows, okay? A lot of times you'll have bug guts, you'll get reflections. When it's raining outside, you have raindrops. Guys, these are not acceptable photos, and they will reject them in a heartbeat and send you back to redo that job at your cost, at your expense. All right, I just talked about rain a few minutes ago. So these kind of photos aren't acceptable. How can you see anything through that? This photo was taken through a windshield, trying to capture a neighborhood. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the best thing for you to do. Even though it's raining, we never want to get out in the rain. But if it's raining, what you need to do is just roll your window down, because you may get wet. Go ahead and take your photo and dry off and keep it moving. I used to always keep a towel or a napkins, paper towel with me, so that because I couldn't stand all that water being on my door, so I would have to wipe that down, or I'd wear a raincoat so that I wouldn't get all soaking wet. So you have to prepare for the elements, okay? But never take your photo through a glass while it's raining. Okay, yeah, well, you never really want to take your photo through a glass, period, especially while it's raining. Just stick your camera out. A lot of us sometimes are worried about our equipment being damaged by the rain, and that's the reason why, I usually, if it's raining out, I'll usually just roll my window down and just snap, snap, snap through the window. Whatever I can capture, whatever I'm trying to capture, I'd rather just have my window down because I don't want to go back and do this job for free. So, with all that being said, there's a few things that I really need you to remember. Never crop a previous photo or you know, alter any previous photos in order to make a new one. Because if you get caught doing that, whoever you are working for, they will fire you. They will not hire you to do any more work. You have now put a check mark on your record to where they will not send you any more work. All right. The next thing is, if you cannot capture a photo for any reason, then you need to document it. If you have an instruction block in a home, again, try to reposition yourself to find another spot, so that you can attempt to capture the entire home. And the last thing is, just be aware of your reflections and your shadows and mirrors, windows, doors, things like that. You never want to show yourself or show that reflection or show any kind of reflections or shadows in your photos. So try to avoid those kind of things. Well, guys, that pretty much wraps up this part of the course. So now you know your do's and your don'ts, and you know the best practices for completing these inspections, for taking the photos in order to complete these inspections. Okay, so until next time, I will see you in the next video.